Well, this morning, 2,000 DA voting delegates are set to take their seats for the formal start of the 2023 federal conference. The party, which touts itself as the official opposition, is looking ahead. Its conference is focused on the, quote, a strong DA to build a better future. Federal Chair Dr Ivan Meyer will open the gathering at 9 a.m. The two runners for leader, incumbent John Steenhuisen and rival Dr Ivan will punt themselves in an afternoon session. Now, our reporter Erin joins us now live from the Gallagher Convention Centre. Erin, we know that the DA is hungry to grow its voter base after some 20% of voters backed it back in 2019. What are some of the challenges the party is still facing going into this weekend?
Well, because of some of those challenges are sort of broader systemic challenges in terms of political behavior in South Africa. Voter turnout, for example, at large when it comes to national elections. Now, the DA actually saw a drop between 2014 and 2019. It remains to be seen what will happen in terms of 2024. But you may have seen that spirited delegation of Northern Cape delegates here at the DA Federal Conference arriving just minutes ago. One of them, to whom I spoke, mentioned issues in the Northern Cape heading into 2024. Wilhelmina Hendricks, who is with the DA in that province from Daar, was saying that she believes in the party, she believes in its ability to lead South Africa moving forward. And no surprises, of course, she's here as a member of the party voting in proceedings over the next 2 days. We know about red berets. I've seen some blue berets here as well. And the mood is certainly swelling as we lead up to that opening address from Federal Chair Dr Ivan Meyer for just after 9 o'clock. But talking of issues that the DA specifically is facing, this is something that political analyst Dr Ntsikelelo Breakfast touched on in an interview with Newzroom Afrika. Here's what he had to say on that front.
So one of the reasons why the DA did not perform well is because there was a particular language that was employed that did not sit well with some people in some quarters, a language of us and them, language of the self and the other, whereby Mmusi Maimane spoke about whiteness and white privilege. I'm not talking about the rightness or the wrongness of that, but that's not the language of the DA. So the DA was punished because of that. So I don't think that those who are influential will hand over the reins to a person who is not solid politically. I think they would rather hand over the reins to a person that has been groomed within the party.
Right, well, Erin, we know that politicians like Mmusi Maimane, Lindiwe Mazibuko, for instance, and Tony Leon are history in terms of the DA. Dr Ivan, though, is a bit of a newbie, and she's made a few comments when it comes to prior and existing leadership within the party. What is she saying?
Certainly very interesting. We spoke to Helen Zille just before 7 o'clock, and Dr Palatse touched on Zille's role in the party and whether or not that spectre of Helen Zille's leadership of the DA hangs over events like this conference. Here's her own words on Zille in an interview with Newzroom Afrika earlier this week. Oh, in fact, that is on standby. We'll have to come back to it later. But Natasha Mazzone is right here.
Yes.
And tell me, you have told me that you're looking forward to the constitutional amendment discussions.
Yes.
I've spoken to Helen Zille. She's mentioned that is around governance issues for the DA. What are some of the key constitutional amendments that you think need to be addressed?
Well, as the party grows and we grow in numbers, you see at this Congress, it's our biggest Congress ever. 2,000 people, and so things have to change and things have to amend. And people have really put thought into what needs to be refined. So our basic principles remain the same, but there's a refine. And then tomorrow we have motions and we have resolutions. And the one I'm the most excited about is how South Africa will react in terms of a security perspective to climate change, because we know we are going to be affected by hurricanes, droughts, floods, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that plays out. But I mean, just look around you. It's an atmosphere of joy. I'm standing together with 8 of the greatest people I possibly know, who, if I could vote for all of them, I would. I've got my leader behind me, John Steenhuisen, who has my full and absolute support. And you look around and you feel the love, and the main thing is you feel the hope. There's a tangible understanding that we can change this country for the better, and come 2024, we are a force to be reckoned with.
What gives you confidence that John Steenhuisen, as the face of the DA, is the person to lead the party into the national elections and not Dr. Palatse?
Well, look, I've known John Steenhuisen since I was 18 years old. I have served, well, he was a councillor in KZN, I was a councillor in Pretoria. He then went on to the legislature. We met up again in Parliament. He's gone through the steps. He understands how every level of government works. He's been the chief whip in Parliament. He's been the parliamentary leader. He's led massive inquiries that have caused major controversy. He's kept his head. He's kept his cool. He understands coalition governments. He's an approachable person. He is completely one of us. You just have to see the reaction and the way he interacts with people. He is so on the ground. What I really appreciate is when the times were really tough, John said, I want no security guards. He said the average South African has to deal with crime just like everyone else. He said, I am an average South African. Nothing makes me special. And he did away with security guards. He sold the leader's vehicle. He put the money towards the party. That shows me he's internalized what it means to be a true leader and a leader of the Democratic Alliance.
It strikes me that you said he's one of us. And the sort of pallor of the DA leadership can be an issue for the party. And the old guard of the party, as it were, is sometimes something that comes up as a deep criticism of its capacity to build a bigger voter base. You've touched on John Steenhuisen and his various merits in your view. You haven't really addressed the candidacy of Dr. Palatse, his rival.
Well, quite frankly, I have read Mpho's campaign material. She has some good ideas, but I don't agree with at least 60% of what she said. And I think she's a lovely lady, and I think that she has a superb future in the party. But I don't think she's been around long enough, and I don't think that she's been in spheres of government long enough to fully understand what it takes to lead an organization the size of the Democratic Alliance. You mentioned the word pallor, and that takes me by surprise, because I look around this room and I see a South Africa that I want to live in. So that you took me off guard there, because I'm looking around and I'm seeing a beautiful rainbow nation, which is exactly what we're after. I'm looking at our leadership. I'm looking at our leadership in Parliament, who leads us in Parliament. That is what South Africa should look like. And that is what we're aiming for. That is what we don't even have to try. We are just naturally that kind of political party. We are the party for all the people. And it's so clear to see when one looks around this room.
And the fact that you've lost leaders like Mmusi Maimane and Lindiwe Mazibuko, sorry to surprise you with the mention of pallor. It is obviously a key issue in South African politics, and one would think that as the DA, the official opposition, you're cognizant and conscious of that as a criticism. But how do you retain strong leaders, and why have you hemorrhaged the likes of Maimane and Mazibuko?
I think to be the leader of any political organization is the most thankless, the loneliest, and the hardest job in the world. And I wouldn't take it if they promised me anything I wanted in the world. And I think that John has the guts and the grit to stay the course. He has the staying power. And I think the problem with leaders that we've had before was when the going got tough, they didn't get going, they left. And that was the problem. John has been with us through thick and thin. He's on the ground with us, knocking door to door. He's not sitting in his office instructing us what to do. He's down on the ground with us all the time. And that's why I say he is one of us, because when we canvass, John canvasses. When we're doing campaigns, John's campaigning with us. He's never in his office He's always available. He is completely a delegate today, just like we all are.
All right, I'm going to get you off your soapbox for John Siemhesen there, Natasha Mazzone. Thank you. Interestingly, Ntokozo, speaking to Helen Ziller earlier, she also emphasized the taxing nature of the job, the task of being leader of a political party and the kind of scrutiny one is then under. Of course, the leader in the Western Cape for the DA is Premier Alan Winde. He spoke to us a little bit earlier, and here's what he emphasized.
So, I mean, when you have a look at the range of motions that are put in, I mean, it's about youth unemployment, it's about the economy, it's about energy, it's about all of those things that are holding us back as a nation, but it goes right down to issues of, animal welfare, and I mean, so there's a range of motions which talk to all of the issues that South Africans face in every single walk of life. So, yeah, I mean, and those are the motions, and of course, they're all underpinned by the policies. There might be some amendments to some of them, but, it's about the policies and how we enact them.
All right, Erin, we are going to have to leave it there, but some very difficult questions there that I think the party is going to have to tackle once they go into those policy considerations and discussions. Thank you so much, Erin. We'll leave it there for now.